3 months after the children of Israel left Egypt, they returned to Sinai in the desert of Sinai in the Sinai wilderness and camped at the foot of the mountain. Moses was familiar with this place. This was where God first spoke with Moses through the burning bush, and Moses went up to the mountain to talk with God. God said, "Remind the children of Israel what I did to the Egyptians and what I did for them, and tell them they will be my special treasure if they will obey my voice and keep my commandment." God told Moses, "The earth is mine." In other words, I can give you everything you ever desired. God told Moses, "Ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation." When Moses came back to the camp, he called the elders together, told them what God had said, got their commitment to obey, and went back and told God. God said, "I am going to come to you in a thick cloud, and the people will hear me when I speak with you and believe thee forever." Moses told the people all that God had told him. God told Moses that he wanted the people to sanctify themselves. The word sanctify means set aside, and God wanted them to put all their sins and their normal lives aside for him. He told them to set aside 2 days, wash their clothes, and be ready for the third day when God would come down to Mount Sinai so that all the people would see. He told Moses to set boundaries around the mount so that none of the people or the animals would go up the mount or even touch it, lest they die. They were not to come up to the mount until they heard a long sound on the trumpet, which would indicate that it was okay. "Be ready," God told Moses. Then it happened. In the morning, on the third day, there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and they heard a long sound on the trumpet, which indicated that it was okay to go up. The long-awaited moment had come. The people were going to hear God, and do you know what they did? They trembled. Moses brought them out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the lower part of the mount. There was smoke like the smoke of a furnace all over the Mount Sinai, and God descended upon it in fire, and it quaked. Then the trumpet sounded long again and louder, and Moses spoke, and God answered him. And God came down upon the top of Mount Sinai, called Moses, and Moses went up. God told Moses, "Go down and tell the people not to try to come up here, and warn the priests who come near to sanctify themselves, lest I get them too." And Moses told God that he had already set the boundaries and sanctified it. But God still wanted Moses to tell them again, and he did. Then God spoke, "I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or is in the earth below, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day it is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. When all the people saw the thunderings and the smoke and heard the lightnings and the trumpet, they got back. They told Moses that they would prefer that he tell them what God wanted them to know, and it scared them when God spoke to them. Moses told them not to be afraid and that God was merely coming to them to make sure that they didn't sin and that they really knew that it was him. But the people still stayed back. And Moses went back and spoke with God, and God told Moses all the details of the rules that he wanted them to follow, and Moses wrote it all down for us to read and obey. Sometimes there was a strict punishment for disobedience. For example, they killed someone if that person did work on the Sabbath. Today, humans do not punish people for sin in our country, and Christians believe that Jesus took the punishment for our sins, so we practice forgiveness. But we do believe that God will bless those who honor him and keep his commandments and laws, and curse them who do not.